welcome to Maxi Life Wellness Fridays featuring holistic lifestyle, zero-waste approach with Miss Hindi Weber. I'm Patricia Bermudez, Hizon, your host for this event. For this session, we'll be joined by a multi-hyphenated woman who will help us with our journey to a holistic lifestyle and enjoy the balance of our mind, body, and spirit. You will learn all the essentials for living consciously and sustainably for the health of people and the planet. This will be very helpful for all of us, especially in a time like this when it is vital for all of us human beings to be good stewards of our body and the planet. Now, I'm so honored because here to give us his opening remarks, we have the Maxicare chairman of the board, Mr. Roberto Bobby Macasait Jr.
Thank you for taking time from your, I'm sure, very busy schedules to participate in this Maxicare Maxi Life Wellness Fridays. Several years ago, close to 3.5 now, when I made the decision to go plant-based, I had the great fortune of meeting for the first time our guest today and learned that she is a true pioneer in living a balanced lifestyle, covering good nutrition, exercise, stress management. And it's one of the many initiatives that Maxicare continues and will continue to provide our members as we maneuver through this difficult period. More than ever, in this era, in this time of COVID-19, health and healthcare is vitally important. Therefore, we all need to have really good information, evidence-based, truthful, and relevant that can help all of us go through this difficult period. And I'm sure that today our guest, Hindi Weber, will be able to provide you with a lot of very useful, very vital information that you can immediately apply to help in your nutrition needs, in your exercise, in your stress management. One of the things I hope you also continue to do is to look forward to additional initiatives by Maxicare in the form of an app, in the form of YouTube videos, in the form of newsletters, focusing on health and wellness. We are always going to be here for you, our members. We have been for the past 30 plus years here for you in your healthcare needs. And I want to make sure that we are going to be truly relevant to you, not just when you need us, but even before that, in this particular time when people have questions about overall health issues, especially with COVID and perhaps pre-existing conditions. Rest easy. The entire Maxicare organization is devoted to providing all of you with relevant evidence-based information that will be meaningful and helpful to your lives. So once again, I want to welcome you to Maxicare Maxi Life Wellness Fridays. I hope to see more of you as the year moves forward. And once again, thank you for putting your faith and confidence in Maxicare.
Thank you so much for that wonderful message, Mr. Bobby. Appreciate it. Now it's time to finally meet and hear from our speaker. And as Mr. Bobby was saying, they're devoted to providing relevant and evidence-based information, and this speaker will deliver just that. Our speaker is a mother of 4 children, a fashion designer, a biodynamic farmer, TV host, and key opinion leader in holistic living. She is a wild wellness teacher and co-founded Holy Carabao Holistic Farms in 2007 with the simple intention to bring home better food for her family. It actually began as a small backyard garden that eventually grew into the first door-to-door organic food delivery in our country, as well as a trusted supplier of organic produce to supermarkets, restaurants, and hotels. Holy Carabao now focuses its work on education through workshops, field trips, farm classes for K-12, and special events like even country festivals. She pours her compassion and consciousness into everything she endeavors, from farming to fashion and her other advocacies, including curative education, environmental stewardship, animal rights, and holistic nutrition. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us please welcome Miss Hindi Weber. Hi, Hindi.
Hello, everyone. Can you see me?
Yes, we can, and looking forward to your talk.
In my little corner on Earth, I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Thank you, Patricia. That was so long. I feel so old because there's so much to say.
And that's exactly right. The poll question actually said a lot of people really want to live that holistic lifestyle. So we're looking forward to what you're going to be sharing. And I'll be jumping in every now and then for questions from our audience, Hindi.
All right. So first, I wanted to acknowledge and thank Bobby. We met a few years ago, and he was the most humble, kindest chairman, CEO at that time, I think, that I've ever met, and someone in the healthcare industry who I believe truly believes about health, and really cares about the health of his members and team. And that's a very honest opinion of mine. A lot of people in the healthcare industry don't really care about health, you know. That's the ironic thing. But that's not the case for Bobby. He's so proactive and very progressive in terms of true wellness. If you can see with this Wellness Fridays, all the markets that he's organized, the workshops that he's organized. So you're very lucky to be a part of this company and a member of Maxicare. And I'm so honored to be here to share my 20 plus years of experience in this field. So basically, at the bottom of it all is I'm a mom. Yeah, I'm a mom to 4 children. I'm very blessed to have my children. And because of them, really, I chose this path because after I had my child, after breastfeeding, I said, well, what am I going to feed them now, right? What is the best food for them? So it really came from my intention as a mother to give my children the best quality food. And then my second child, a daughter, was diagnosed with a supposedly incurable neurological condition when she was 2 years old. And that led me down the rabbit hole, so to speak. It opened up a whole new world to discover for me on what true wellness and true health really means. So I hope to share a little bit of everything that I've gathered and experienced in my life. Of course, we are all different. And of course, I'm not a doctor, though I have considered it. You know, if I have a little bit more time, I think I do want to get a degree in medicine. I might as well. You know, what I am is a very, very good student. I'm a very, very good student, and I'm this close to the best doctors. I ask so many questions. I'm that annoying, nerdy, geeky patient that asks a lot of questions. So, and I do my own research. I read a lot of books. I watch a lot of podcasts or listen to a lot of podcasts. And I apply all of these in my own life. So I'm not sharing anything that I don't actually apply in my own life. But like anything else, don't take my word for it. This is just my way of sharing with you. And whatever resonates with you, you can test out for yourself. So I just wanted to show you, these are the different aspects of my work. I have, oh, let me share screen. I'm sorry. Okay. There we go. And how's that? Can I get a thumbs up if it's showing right? It's hard to be talking to yourself sometimes here. Okay, so yeah, we're good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so I just want to touch on the different aspects of my work. Of course, there's Holy Carabao Holistic Farm. This started in 2007, right? 14 years ago, just in my backyard until the amazing thing with Mother Nature is if you take care of it just a little bit, it gives back so much. It's so very generous. So what we were planting just for our family became so abundant that we started sharing it with our neighbors and friends until I got this call from some lady in Quezon City who said, "Can you deliver? I heard you sell organic vegetables." I said, "No, I don't sell. I just give them away." She said, "Well, I want to buy them. Can you deliver them?" So I said, "Ah, okay." So just it was just me. My yaya was the bookkeeper, and our driver was the delivery man, and that started. And it was free delivery at that time. So I lost my shirt. I didn't make any money in that. Not at all. Not a sustainable business, but nonetheless, it just goes to show the heart and the soul that went into Holy Carabao Holistic Farm. And to this day, it is still based on that premise that we just really want to grow the best, cleanest food for Filipino families. I also have Hindi Weber Everyday Fashion. I started actually my career as a fashion designer, neck deep in the retail industry, and I got burnt out, I got tired, I got sick. In fact, I feel like my daughter, who has this neurological condition, I was pregnant with her right in the middle of the height of the peak of my career in the business, and I feel it really had an effect on my wellness and eventually hers. But anyway, this is my new and improved fashion label, Hindi Weber Everyday. 100% sustainable, using organic fabrics, ethical practices, non-toxic dyes, meaning they're non-cancerous, they're completely water safe to the water table. So I will talk more about that later. And of course, I have my little baby called Hey Hindi. It's an advice portal on Instagram where members can message me private message about anything that concerns food, nutrition, wellness, design, style, beauty. Sometimes I get random things like, what lipstick color should I buy? Is it this or this? What eyeglass frames to match my face? Sometimes they'll show me their food that they're ordering in a restaurant, the most random things. And sometimes even love life advice. They will ask me advice on marriage, but whatever happens in my marriage, I've been married, gosh, I don't know, like 29 years, not married, but together with my husband 29 years. It's not for everyone, of course, and what applies to me can't apply to everybody, but I share some basic principles on communication and intimacy too. So that's what Hey Hindi is. All right. So for Holy Carabao, this is my beautiful partner, Melanie Go. She and I do workshops, field trips, cooking demos. We also, of course, produce and grow the organic food that we sell on our online shop. That's my fashion line, just very briefly. Oh, there you go. All sustainable fabrics. And this is some press release that I got. So it says Hindi Weber's antidote to fast fashion. I will talk about fast fashion later. And this funnily enough, the title, Hindi Weber now makes clothes you can compost. Yeah, because our clothes, I like to brag, you can actually throw it in the garbage, and in a couple of months, it will disintegrate. Just like your food scraps, right? It's not made of polyester, no plastic parts, not even the buttons. The buttons are made of shell, sustainable shell. So even the packaging is all biodegradable as well. So that's why our tagline is called From Seed to Style. These are some of our workshops that we've done before. So many about farming, about nutrition, natural medicine, make over your pantry and kitchen. So, but here I've been invited to talk about the holistic lifestyle and zero waste approach. And let me tell you, I have not given a talk as comprehensive as this one that I'm giving the Maxicare members today. I compiled my talks from maybe 4 different areas into this very condensed and comprehensive one, because I don't think you can just, like, a lot of people ask me, so how do you live healthy? How do you live holistic? Gosh, I can't give a straight answer. There's so many things. Of course, I can give the principles, but unless you understand the foundation and the background and the machinations of each industry, you won't really have an appreciation for a holistic lifestyle, and won't really make those little changes that are necessary to move our society and or our humanity forward. So basically, what this means really comes down to what we consume, right? Just think about that word consume, what we consume. And these are the basic things, as much as I could cover, that I feel we consume as human beings, right? If there's anything I missed, I would love to know what you think. The first 3, fiber, fuel, and food, are the main causes of pollution and carbon emissions on the planet today. However, these are not the only culprits to affecting our health. We also have to look at the industry of water, shelter, health and beauty, technology, information, and energy, or emotion, right? Emotion, energy in motion. And you're gonna, it's funny because when I was preparing this talk, my partner Melanie, my husband Jippy was like, wow, you're really gonna talk about those, huh? Yes, I'm really gonna talk about this. And maybe some of you will think it's really out there, but I think it's time, after this year of this lockdown, this pandemic, it's time to really keep it real and to give you the most comprehensive and groundbreaking information that there is in the healthcare world. And I've researched these all, and it's important that we all know it. I don't want to keep anyone in the dark. I don't want to keep anyone in their comfortable seats just thinking that if they don't drink water from a plastic bottle, that's already taking care of their health. No, there's so much more to it. And these are what we will cover today. Can you imagine? How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, infinity 8, 8 topics. So first, let's begin with fiber. Fiber meaning the textiles, right? We see this. I've been in the retail industry for 20 years. And let me tell you, look at the waste that goes in. When I was in the middle of my career for one of the most premium department stores, my boss, and we had bosses that were foreigners. You know, of course, they had merchandising formulas, right? And it was always about growth, growth, growth. How are we going to grow? So this collection, this season, you have X amount of budget, right? And whether you like it or not, you have to finish that budget. So you're thinking, okay, I have to make 300 designs. Next season, which is 6 months later, another, not just 300 designs, no way can you duplicate it, but now it's 400 designs. So it was constantly growing, and it didn't matter if the market could not sustain it. So what happened, and I was always questioning that, because at the end of the season, you'd have to put things on sale. And that would drive me crazy kasi hindi na nga ako natutulog, umiiyak na nga ako, nag-aaway na kami ng asawa ko because always just designing and designing and designing. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is not sustainable. At that time, I had no idea the pollution and the toxicity that was in the industry that I loved so much, because I really, really love fashion. I love dressing up. I love the history of fashion. And who doesn't love a sale? Look at that. Isn't it crazy? After a sale, ang dami pa ring damit sa tindahan. And then what happens to that? Some of the biggest fast fashion companies will either incinerate them or they will send them to third world countries, which end up in our ukay-ukay, which of course we all enjoy. But after the ukay-ukay, there's still left over that goes into even poorer countries. So what does that do? It actually destroys the livelihoods of the artisans, the sewers, the original, like the embroiderers, the beaders, those kind of indigenous artisanal people. It destroys those industries. So fast fashion isn't free. Someone somewhere is paying. Fast fashion, you pay $399 for a shirt, $799 for a shirt. Wow, it's so cheap. It's so nice. That's what we think. But somewhere down the line, when you reverse engineer that, someone is not getting paid well, the sewer is not getting paid well, and the dyes that were used, the fibers that were used are actually destroying the environment. So when we talk about fashion, we also have to talk about human rights, fair pay. This is forced labor, child labor, sexual harassment, discrimination. Fair pay, for example, in Bangladesh, they will get less than 5,000 pesos a month. So that's not even enough. Those are not living wages. And these are women who are underage, sometimes under 13 years old. Yeah. Pakistan is the same thing. The artisan craft is what I'm talking about. Mass-produced clothing has eroded, has destroyed the artisanal heritage crafts that have been passed through generations, right? Because they end up becoming too expensive. So the market will just buy whatever's cheapest and whatever's easiest, right? Funnily enough, I want to share that the pay of the textile industry workers and the sewing industry in the Philippines is actually pretty good. It's actually very fair. In fact, a lot of people find it expensive. A lot of these big companies find it expensive, which is why they don't produce in bulk here in the Philippines. They go to Vietnam, they go to Bangladesh and Pakistan, etc. Which for me is a good thing. But at the same time, I would like to see now a re-emergence of the heritage crafts, the techniques that we are slowly losing. But I'm seeing more and more local designers that are using kunwari, Inabel weaves, the kind of weaves, and the dyeing, like using indigo and turmeric and achuete. So these are slowly coming back, but they're not very widespread yet, because when you go to a mall, you're faced with these behemoth fast fashion companies. All right, look at all the waste that goes. And this is a picture of the Rana building in Bangladesh that collapsed because they have such poor working conditions. This is one of the biggest tragedies in history. Really, so many people died, and it was, I don't know if you saw this in the news, or there was a huge expose on National Geographic as well. So this is not an exemption. It actually happens very often. They're given very poor working conditions, very unhealthy, and very low pay. Completely unjust. Yeah. And now, actually, I want to just say a lot of our masks being used now, since we're mandated to wear masks, are made by workers like these now. So we pay how much for a mask? Imagine they are only getting maybe 1/20th of that, even less. They have to produce thousands of masks just to get a short pay. A small pay. So we really have to think also of our consumption during this time of COVID. So this is what happens when you have all the waste from the fashion industry. And it's not just hard waste, it's also liquid waste. It's not just solid waste, it's also the liquid waste The denim industry, for example, is one of the most polluting industry that goes into our rivers, right? It kills the fish, it kills the plankton, it just kills the entire ecosystem of the river. Also, the leather industry is one of the most polluting industries. Yeah. So this shows you that the fashion industry contributes to the greenhouse gas emissions. And polyester, nylon, acrylic, all these synthetic fibers, anything that has plastic in them, you don't realize, but these all actually contain plastic, and they're in our clothes, right? They are 60% of the clothes that are being worn worldwide are actually synthetic. But just because it's not synthetic, for example, cotton, doesn't mean it's also good, because cotton is very, very wasteful. If you look here on the left side, look at the amount of resources that goes into just 1 kilogram of cotton. 1 kilo of cotton uses up to 3 kilos of chemicals, and that's the equivalent of 3 trillion plastic bottles. And look at the water, 100 billion cubic meters of water used annually for the production of cotton. Okay, so this, just because it's cotton doesn't mean it's sustainable. There's so many other sustainable fabrics now, like bamboo, linen or flax, hemp, that are actually more sustainable. However, some companies are heavily invested in cotton, so that's why it all becomes business, and that's what's really limiting the sustainability in the industry, right? Apart from that, 80 billion pieces of clothing are discarded worldwide every year. Each person, for example, an average American will throw away 70 pounds of clothing in a year. That's equivalent to 191 t-shirts per person in a year. So they bought that and they just threw it. So I don't know about you guys, how many have you thrown? Personally, this year I've bought very, very little clothes. Well, because I also make my own clothes. That's easy. I haven't bought a single pair of shoes. So those are the silver linings of the lockdown, right? So this just talks about more of the environmental impact, the CO2 emissions. Oh, this is a lot of fun. Look, your cotton socks. Look at how many weeks or months it will take to biodegrade, for it to decompose. Your polyester dress, anything that has stretch or shine, something like that, that's 200 plus years. Your yoga outfit, 20 to 200 years. But look, down there, your linen top, which mostly I produce a lot of linen, is only 2 weeks to biodegrade. Yeah, so isn't that amazing? Also on the top right, merino thermal top, that's wool. So that's from an animal. That only takes 9 months. So it's fun to look at what you're wearing now and how long it will take to decompose if you threw it in the trash. So we have to demand transparency now, especially from the biggest global brands. If you look here in the chart on the rightmost, there's not a single brand that scores above 70% transparency. Right? Only 5 brands score higher than 60%. But most are just in the 1 to 10% mark. So all these brands that you are supporting with your hard-earned money are not being transparent about their practices, even those that say they have sustainability campaigns. Trust me, it's greenwashing. So, whoops, we have to consider I lost it. We have to consider that how we consume fiber or fashion have ethical issues. So we are supporting modern day slavery, literally. I already talked about the waste and the pollution. And we are losing the skills and knowledge of heritage crafts. So those are the considerations for our fiber consumption. Okay, next is fuel, but I want to go back to fiber first. And if anybody has any questions, I can answer them right now. I want this talk to be interactive. I don't want you guys to get bored because there's a lot of information. So please, if you have any questions, let's be a little bit more interactive about it.
Right. Actually, that's kind of shocking. A lot of the things that you shared there, I'm sure that not many people are aware, but thank you so much for opening our eyes on that, particularly what's on your slide, the ethical issues with the current culture, and just the fact that you share that about 191 shirts per person are consumed and are basically disposed of yearly. It really makes one think of what kind of lifestyle they should be adopting to be able to stop this kind of cycle. But I do have a question here from Nazer Bendanya from Standard Insurance. Thanks so much, Nazer. She's asking if there is any existing projects to resolve those issues in the fashion industry. And you talked about greenwashing because some brands do say they have sustainability campaigns. I mean, how does one consumer take part in resolving issues in the fashion industry?
Just like anything else, do your research. So example, you walk into X store and you see that they have a sustainability campaign. You know, you gotta dig a little deeper, right? It's just like seeing a product with an organic stamp. I don't believe those very easily. I really do my research on the company, on the farm. So it's the same thing. Even just a simple Google, like X stores, foundational groups. I'm part of fashion revolution groups. So when you are part of these communities, you will hear about who's real or who's not. Just like when you're part of, let's say, in any particular community, right? Like let's say animal rescue or animal welfare, you will get the insider info. So stay informed that way.
I have here a question from Dessa. Is building a capsule wardrobe ideal to be sustainable in fashion? Is it just that? Or you have to dig deeper as just what you mentioned? If yes, how do I start my own capsule wardrobe? And you got to go to Hindi Weber every day for that one too.
Yes, there's several ways. That's certainly one way of doing it, right? Some people like to stick to a signature look, which is okay, right? And I remember in college, my roommate only wore black. And so she only had one pair of black boots, one pair of black sneakers, black jeans, black leggings, black shirt, black sweater. Not kidding, right? But she had so much money in the bank. I saw like, when I saw her bank account, I was like, what? I was like, and there I was buying everything, maxing out my credit card. So stupid. Anyways, that's definitely one way. Okay, but if you want to dig a little deeper, what will the pieces in your capsule collection be made of?
Mm-hmm.
Who made them? What communities are you supporting? Personally, I don't like capsule collections because I love fashion and I'm so artist. So I really like to try different things. Today I'm kind of preppy. Tomorrow I want to be glam. For me, fashion is playtime. It's playing. It's like food. You want to celebrate with your food. You don't want to eat the same thing every day, right? So sometimes I get bored with smoothies, so I'll play around with it. But that's, definitely a way to start.
Hindi, I know that this is right. I know that this is the first of 8 segments that you'll have. So I'll let you go back to your presentation because we're now being bombarded by a lot of questions. So go ahead.
Okay, back to share screen, right? Okay, oops. I can't find it.
And while Hindi is fixing the share screen, again, I just want to remind everyone to please rename yourselves, put your first and your last name, and also include the company name that you represent. And again, I just want to remind you that we will have a special raffle that Hindi will tell us more about later on. So back to your presentation.
Okay. So now we're going to be talking about fuel. Yeah. You can imagine how many enemies I've made, right? When I talk about these things. I don't mean to step on anybody's toes, but I think we have zero time left to make changes in our world and in our lives. I don't know if we need a bigger wake-up call than COVID, you know? So if you're still waiting for a bigger wake-up call, wow, gosh, that's so sad, because this is a very big wake-up call for the world and for our own personal choices. Anyways, let's go to fuel. So basically, fuel we use for electricity, for manufacturing, and for movement by way of our vehicles and factories. There we go. It's just a little slow. See all those CO2 emissions. I live in Laguna and there's all over the place. So apart from, acquiring infections from others, what we really need to worry about is the particulate matter in the air pollution. And actually there are scientific findings that the intensity of COVID, or the number of COVID cases, is actually proportionate to the high particulate matter in that particular city, right? So you can check this out yourself. I'm not going to talk much about it, but basically, if you have very poor air quality, the chances of acquiring COVID are much higher. Here's a simple graph showing you the different types of energy consumption that we consume. Look at oil, coal, natural gases, see all that? And the renewable sources are so little. So all those are coming from fossil fuels. This is for the Philippines, specific to the Philippines, the type of fuel that is used by households. So the electricity is number one, right? And then, but actually, a lot of people still use fuel wood or LPG. Then there's gasoline, the biomass residues. Biogas is nothing. This is what we use our electricity for. This is also in the Philippines. We use it mainly for lighting. So imagine if we use less light at home, or we built our homes to have natural light so we don't need to use as much light, we would save a lot of power, a lot of energy, a lot of fuel. Also air conditioning, space cooling, ironing. So funny, ironing's at 40%, right? Okay, refrigeration, of course, cooking and food preparation, computer activities, high up there. So those are just certain things that we can change within our home. Example, in our household, just by not using one aircon in one room, we were able to bring our electricity bill down by 4,000 a month. So not only is it cheaper for us, but it's also better for the environment, right? So again, this just shows the Philippine electric power generation and the sources of our electric power. Look at other renewable sources like wind, solar, biomass. It's like 0%. It's crazy. So the bulk is still with coal, right? So just give a comparison on what is renewable energy and what is non-renewable energy. Of course, non-renewable energy comes from fossil fuels, nuclear. I can't see that. What does it say? Natural gases. It's behind the thing. Yeah. Anyways, oh there. Yeah, natural gas and coal. This is what's used for energy, as a source for energy. In the renewable section, a source of energy can be wind, geothermal, hydropower, solar energy, and even biomass energy, which are more sustainable, renewable. So much better for you, cleaner energy, much better for the planet. Okay. So this just a quick infographic on how coal was formed in the first place. So these are like millions and millions of years ago, from the composting, the decomposition of fossils, dinosaurs, plants, buried underwater and dirt. Then heat and pressure turned these things into coal. And then, of course, petroleum, that's for coal. For petroleum, for oil and natural gas, this is in the ocean. So tiny sea plants and animals died, were buried under the ocean floor. And the enormous heat and pressure turned them into oil and gas. And that's why you find these oil harvesting things in the middle of the ocean, right? These oil drills, that's actually what they're doing. So this talks about biomass and fossil fuels. So biomass actually is a much better alternative. It takes carbon out of the atmosphere while it is growing and returns it as it is burned, right? It maintains a closed carbon cycle with no net increase in atmospheric carbon dioxide levels. So the problem though with biomass, for example, with using crops like corn, is the use of pesticides and fertilizers. So I'm sorry, do you hear the grass cutter? Is it a problem?
No, it's okay, Hindi. We're
Okay.
so yeah. The information that you're sharing with us is just so much better, and it's actually captivated us. So don't worry about the grass cutter.
Okay. So even like renewable sources, what I meant was even renewable sources like biomass, you have to really consider even the production, the growing of it, right? So for example, the corn, right? You're dealing with genetically modified organisms, you're dealing with pesticide use, weedicides, and that also goes into the water system and into the air. So you really have to consider so many different things. So that's why it's in the bottom of these 5 types of renewable sources. The best is solar energy, then wind power, then hydroelectricity, geothermal energy, and then biomass. So into the air, that is a degenerative form of agriculture. And you see this a lot. And it doesn't mean that if you cover it with rice, that's a better alternative. Not necessarily. You really need a diverse farm, diverse cover crops, which is why our forests are so important. Old growth forests, biodiverse forests are crucial to all of life on Earth. So it's not just about sustainable farming, which of course is still a better alternative, but we really need to protect our forests. So when I see the Amazon being burned so that they can plant monocrops of palm trees to produce palm oil, it truly breaks my heart. And we wonder why there are rogue viruses like COVID or pandemics. We wonder, but it's crazy. It's all connected. The burning, the wildfires in Australia, it's all connected. This is all going into the atmosphere, and we're all in a toxic state, right? This is why we must protect our forests, our trees. So building healthy soil actually solves everything. So it doesn't matter how much you balance your carbon footprint, but if you're not building healthy soil, you're still contributing to the problem. Apart from the healthy soil, I talked about how the ocean is one of the best repositories, right? Not only does the ocean absorb the carbon in the atmosphere, right? When there's too much carbon, it becomes actually acidic. But thanks to the phytoplankton in the water, we are still able to get 50 to 85% of our oxygen, which is why this particular process with a phytoplankton and zooplankton in the oceans is one of the most safeguarded processes on Earth. They appear in secret locations and they are safeguarded by global environmental agencies. Because if it goes into the wrong hands, we could literally all just die in a matter of weeks. So this is safeguarded, heavily safeguarded. So here we are taking care of our money, but we don't realize that all of life is dependent on our soil and our water and how we protect these resources. Any questions on fuel?
Actually, yes, there is, but I think this is more general. You were saying how it's so hard to change for the country, especially with what's going on. But on a personal or household level, what can we do? Isaiah is actually asking, Isaiah Talampas, what are your recommendations for people like me who really want to start a zero waste approach little by little? And I love that practical tip you gave through a reminder that we're actually consuming a lot of our electricity because of light, because of lighting. And, not a lot of us are aware of that. So please share with us, Cindy, those little things that we can do at the household level.
I will give some very basic, my kind of prescription at the very end. But in terms of energy consumption in the house, really think about, actually, Pinoys are really good with this now. We're so resourceful with this. But just really think about teaching the kids, especially, turning off the lights, turning off the faucet. Actually, when I'm showering, I don't just leave the water running. I mean, I turn it off and on, only when needed. I actually have a rainwater catchment in my garden. I have big drums where I collect water. So this is what I use to clean the garage, to water the plants outside, to bathe my doggy. So those things.
Well, I'm not sure, but I wanted to, of course, put the spotlight on this question from Debbie. How can we help to reduce the carbon footprint in our daily activities? And I think those are some of the things that you already mentioned. And of course, we're looking forward to the tips that you'll be sharing later on.
Yes. So, carpool with your friends or family, or take public transport, get a bike.
Yes.
That's, I wish we were a biking kind of city. I mean, I wish we were more of that. But get a bike. Yeah. So and then those tips on reducing your electrical output at home. And I would really highly recommend that you join an environmental group. So you can join coastal cleanups, plant a tree, plant a lot of trees. We actually, every single person consumes about 400 trees in their lifetime. A minimum of 400 trees in terms of the furniture,
right?
The paper, all the odds and ends at home. It comes out to about 400 trees per person. So how many trees have we planted? Yeah, we gotta make up for all the trees that we actually consume. So before I die, I want to be able to plant even more than 400 trees.
Right. Hey, that's something great to share also with our children. Thanks, Cindy. I'm already looking forward to your next segment.
Okay. So share screen again, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, while Hindi is doing this, we encourage all of you to please change your name, put your first name and your full name so we can properly address your questions and make you part of the raffle. Also, of course, easier for us to get in touch with you. Go ahead, Hindi. Thank you.
Okay. So now we're going to be talking about food. Food is supposed to be celebratory. It's supposed to connect us together. Food is really the thread of life. I love to eat. I love food. I love all kinds of cuisine. There's certain foods that when I was just getting started, you know, I tried all kinds of diet, right? I've tried all kinds. I promise you. Now I am an omnivore. However, I'm a very conscious and compassionate omnivore. So I'm very mindful about what I eat and where my food sources are from. I'm not just a blind omnivore, right? So I have in my family, there's so many different diet choices, and not because I impose it on them, but these are the personal choices of my children. So I have one daughter who is complete plant based. It's her choice since she was a young girl. And I think because when I was pregnant with her, I was vegetarian. So I don't know, but it kind of stuck. But she has a very soft spot for animals and really refuses to kill them, to put it bluntly, right? And then I have two children who are carnivores. They don't really like vegetables. I have to force it, you know, those kinds of kids. And then my eldest son, he just loves to try anything. He's even eaten um, weird stuff, you know, like different kinds of wild meats and wild game like crocodile and snake, and you know, because he's an outdoorsy kind of guy. So he's 21 now, but he likes to cook, so that's why he has to really experiment with different ingredients. But anyway, who doesn't love this, right? We all love this. I mean, if I said I don't like this, I would also be lying. So for me, fast food, Jollibee, McDonald's, you know, these kinds of um, food, I have a love-hate relationship with them, to be perfectly honest, because I know exactly what goes into these things. I know the industry machinations of these companies, but at the same time, they bring so much joy and and camaraderie and memories. It's actually more of an emotional food, kind of more of an emotional food than it is a nutritional food, right? So sometimes my kids will be like, "Mommy, can we go to like this?" And I'll be like, "Okay, fine." And so I just switch off that the green-minded mommy in me and just thoroughly enjoy it. But let me tell you, give you a background on on food and what my issues are with them, so you can also inform yourself, make better decisions for your own family. The problem is, you know, food has been mechanized. It's deteriorated already throughout the years since the industrial revolution. Look at this monocropping, how destructive that is to the soil, to the air, to the water. You have to, nothing grows like that naturally, diba? You walk into a forest, it doesn't look like that. Walking into a forest is what grows naturally. This is completely mechanized for simplicity, for convenience. And so when it's like this, you're going to attract pests. So when you attract pests, you're going to need pesticide. Things will not grow well that way, so you're going to need fertilizer as well, right? So all those things have depleted the soils. And look, I've I've interviewed so many farmers all over the country. I'm not kidding. And they won't even eat the food that they themselves grow if they know they've sprayed it. They won't eat it, but they need to make money because that's just how the industry is. But they're spraying chemicals here, and they know it, but they have no choice. There is also a slew of indoor urban farms now, grown with LED lighting and all that, and the vegetables look beautiful, right? So crisp, and they look so green and nutritious. Or they could also be hydroponically grown. Personally, and with Holy Carabao Farms, we do not subscribe to this kind of growing. Yeah, because again, it does not, it contributes to your carbon output, right? All that power that you're using, it contributes to that. Of course, you're saving space by not using land, but there are many ways to save space using soil, being in the outdoors with our glorious sun. So we do not subscribe to this, though we have actual friends who are in the hydroponics and warehouse kind of farming like this. But personally, we do not subscribe to this. We prefer sunlit grown food and food grown in healthy biodiverse soil. So here's an example also of free range chickens, cage free chickens versus chickens, an industrial chicken farm, right? A free range chicken is really allowed to forage, and also the connection with the land, all the diversity that the diverse foods that the chicken eats. We also, the chickens that we raise, we don't use antibiotics, we don't use hormones to grow them. So a normal chicken, an industrial chicken takes 21 days. Have you heard of the 21-day chicken? To become over a kilo. For us, it takes 3 months, three to 4 times longer. Of course, we've seen the hog industry, and so it's all mechanical now, right? Yeah, all because of economics, convenience, economics, scale has to be volume, right? Rather than supporting local industries. I could go on and on about this. This is a very sensitive topic for me, food. Anyways, food has also been over-processed and manipulated. Look at this chicken nga. Oh, see, that's just 2001. It's so old now. I have to fix this slide already. 1957. That's how the chickens look. Actually, the chickens that we grow in Holy Carabao still look like 1957 chickens. But look at the industrial grown chickens. And please be careful with those chickens that say free range, could not, like that, like that, like that. Same thing like everything else. Do your research. In our farm, we are very transparent. You can visit our farm and see. Melanie's and my face are all over. You know, you don't like our produce. We get calls. Oh, Hindi, you know, there was this thing. I don't like the chicken. It's tough. Okay, we talk about it. We are upfront and center. We don't hide behind closed doors. So we're very transparent about our food process. Here's a normal chicken at 5.5 weeks old, right? And this is a genetically modified broiler chicken, the ones you get at any supermarket, at the same age, but of course they're bigger, fatter, but they're sick. They can barely walk, and sometimes their beaks will get even chopped off. Here's a corn-fed versus a grass-fed steak. Corn-fed, oh, sarap, super daming taba, you know, whatever. But the corn is genetically modified. It's unhealthier for the cow because cows are not supposed to be eating corn in the first place. Have you ever seen a cow or a carabao eat corn or any grain? No, they eat grass. That's their natural food. But again, we want them to grow big and fat and heavy so we can charge more, you know, we can sell this big animal, right? But we really need to start changing our approach to food. This, look, sugar has been just completely destroyed. I mean, sugar technically is not such a bad thing, but with the way it's being used in processed foods, it's so shameful, you know. Here's read your ingredients, because sometimes it'll say you don't even understand half of the ingredients that are in the food that you eat when you read the labels, right? And we also have to be careful with genetic engineering of our food. Example, it's not only veggies, it's not only rice, it's not only corn, it's not only canola that is genetically modified, but even shrimp, salmon now are being genetically modified. Also, sometimes they'll, for example, tilapia farms, you think you're just eating a fish. No, but you're actually also eating the food that the fish ate. So if the tilapia farm gave the tilapia uh, all kinds of grains and hormones to grow fast, you yourself are ingesting that. Yeah. So you have to remember, if you're going to eat an animal, you're also eating what that animal ate. And if you're eating vegetables, you're also eating what was sprayed on that vegetable and what was put into the soil. And they don't go away with cooking. Okay, another thing is food has been commodified. Fast and convenient food. How many of us have seen our children or even ourselves eating while watching? Food has become a health or fitness trend, diba? How many diets are there? Food has become hyper tasty, or it looks cool or cute. You know, my kids like to order this and this frappuccino because it's the new one and there's sprinkles on top, you know. Of course, we know and love the sushi bake, right? So there are all these food trends. It's become commodified. And there's stress eating or emotional eating, right? Which is why I explained the fast food earlier. And huge problem is the wasteful packaging and all the wasted food that we have. There are so many people who are hungry, so many people under the poverty line, and there's enough food for all of them. However, the developed nations, the most of the first world countries contribute to so much food waste. It is really truly a shame. Look at all that. It drives me crazy seeing fresh food wrapped in, how do you call it, cling wrap in styrofoam trays. It drives me crazy when I see that. Or organic food that wrapped in plastic. Oh gosh. Also, food has become very divisive. Mga vegans versus meat eaters, plant-based versus omnivore, acid, alkaline, bad sugar, good sugar, dairy or dairy-free, complex carbs, simple carbs, good fats, bad fats. So confusing, right? When actually it really should be quite simple. Food has also become extremely deceptive, especially actually I was going to say just supermarket food, but no, even when you go to the palenque, you see apples and oranges and plums and peaches, and that's not from the Philippines. They have no place in our palenque. Those are being imported, right? So I mean, when I go to a market or palenque in abroad, let's say Australia, I see Australian fruit. I see Australian produce. And same when if I go to a market in Europe, I'm not going to see Indian mango, right? But we're so used to seeing grapes and oranges and plums and these kinds of things, giant strawberries that are really not. So it's deceptive because we think they're fresh and we think that we actually think that there's someone is growing them here already, or maybe we don't even think about it. But anyway, the packaged food, there's so much deception. Fortified with this, fortified with calcium, pangpatangkad, pangpatalino. Oh gosh. When actually it's all sugar and grains in the ingredients. Fortified with this and that. Ay nako. Even organic food that's processed or packaged is very deceptive. Organic peaches, for example. Inorganic apple juice from concentrate. Oh my gosh, it's all high fructose corn syrup. There's also fake healthy food, diet cereals, granola bars, bottled yogurts and smoothies, canola oil, heart healthy oil, oh boy, and fake meats, oh gosh, veggie chips. Even look, fresh food. This is a conventional strawberry. They look pretty much the same, but look at all the ingredients in the conventional strawberry because those are all the ingredients that went into growing that thing. Whereas an organic strawberry is just a strawberry. Another example, there's a Beyond Meat trend, right? There's a lot of meat substitutes, right? For those who are going on a plant-based diet, which is fine. I love plant-based diets, but be careful about your meat substitutes, right? If you're craving a burger, just make yourself a veggie burger, a pure veggie burger. Here on the right side is a veggie burger with brown rice, just 11 real and whole ingredients, right? But a manufactured veggie burger has 33 ingredients, all kinds of things in there that your body does not need and does not know how to digest. Okay, so for example, my daughter who's plant-based, I make her the veggie nuggets, I make her the veggie patties and the veggie burgers, and the veggie salt dogs. I make it myself. It's not very hard. So that's my recommendation on that. Food has also become very unjust. It's all over the world. There's famine, there's lack of food. It's killing our forests, causing flooding, causing fires, killing animals. We really have to start facing that all our food choices actually have a connection to everything else. Yeah, so this is really just about, human compassion. So should we eat bugs? What do we eat? Everybody asks me. So what should I eat? I'm so confused. What do we eat? It's quite simple, for me at least. Suspense. It's not going. I'm pressing and pressing it. It's not going. Hala. There. Oh no! It went so far. Hang on. There we go. Eat food that is natural, real, and fresh. Okay? Buy food from your weekend farmers markets. Cook at home. If you cook at home, you have better chances of using better ingredients, right? So I'm not here to tell you what the best diet is for you. We're all different. You can explore what diet works for you. My diet is like 80 to 90% vegetables and fruits. And because of my constitution, I had a personalized constitutional nutritional test and my blood type, etc. I need to eat certain meats. Very picky about the meats I eat and how it's cooked, how it's harvested, etc. 80 to 90% of my diet is vegetables and fruit. So I know my farmers. I don't just buy from Holy Carabao or grow them myself. I have specific farmer friends who I get from. And I also indulge in superfoods. And we are so lucky in the Philippines. We have a very, very, very rich environment, rich soil, rich biodiversity, that we have so many superfoods. Superfoods are those that have actually medicinal qualities in them, not just nutritional, but actual medicinal qualities. So buko, mangosteen, malunggay, papaya, the green and the ripe, guyabano, So many, kulitis, alugbati, gosh, the list goes on. So please, ampalaya. So you research on those. In my cabinet, I have so many dried herbs. Artemisia, Damong Maria, Philippine oregano, ginger, turmeric. You do not need to look further. We have them all, and you can grow all this around your backyard. If your house is small, it doesn't matter. I grow them in pots. I promise you, I don't have a big garden. I don't live on my farm, so I don't have a big garden, and I constantly grow herbs, medicinals, fruits, um, anywhere I can. And we're also starting a community garden in our village so that we can share produce with each other. So that's something you can do too. Support your local suki in the palengke, but please bring your eco bag or your cooler. The cooler is for the fish. I bring one cooler for seafood, one cooler for meats, and my eco bags for the produce. So I love going to the palengke. I want to. I really want to promote going back to the palengke, and I love talking to the sukis. It's just such a beautiful experience, and I bring my children along. Eat food that is delicious, of course, but also local, ethical, and environmental. What does that mean? I've already told you, food that is grown in healthy soil under the sun. You don't need to have a big garden. You can have a condo and still grow lettuces in a pot, or tomatoes in a pot. I'm not kidding. Or even grow a few herbs for your teas in the morning. Also, if you're going to be eating animals, please eat them that have eaten appropriate healthy food feeds for them. They lived in healthy conditions and they were harvested with compassion. Know your farmer or suki. Avoid plastic packaging. And also, when you buy seafood, please make sure you support sustainable seafood. Buy age appropriate fish. Do not buy fish that are too young. Do not buy fish that are too large. Do not support commercial fishing. Please support small local fishermen. And I talk in the palengke, I talk to them like this. I ask them, "San galing yan?" Like that. Now there's so many, it's so trendy now, diba? All these seafood suppliers, like the best sashimi. Yeah, I mean, we can indulge in those, but I think for our staple food is really where we must take a stand and not compromise with our staple food. And then the extra stuff we can indulge, right? Indulge a little bit in fast food, indulge in milk tea, indulge in the sushi bake, those things. But your center, that you really need to protect that, because your decisions affect so much. Here's the example I was telling you about, the organic, but it's in plastic. Oh, here's the chicken that was in the Maxicare ad, the one with the guy in the motorcycle who almost ran over the chicken. I love that ad. He's a superstar. So cute. The e-care. E-care ba yan? E-care Maxicard. So cute. I love that he really didn't want to run over the chicken. Oh, diba? Because even the chickens we have to take care of. Oh, and here's a question that you can ask yourself: is humane slaughter possible? Some people think it's an oxymoron. Like my daughter, she won't believe that. But some people really feel they need some meat in their lives, and so it's just a matter of choosing well and being more responsible and more compassionate about it. Avoid factory foods. They are bad for the workers, the employees. They are bad for the animals. They are bad for the planet, and they're bad for you. Okay, so wasteful. Look at all the food waste, the plastic waste, the packaging waste, all the contaminants and toxicity and all the pain that is inflicted on the animals, and all they're stripping down the soils with all these chemicals. Yeah. And here's another way also you can shorten your food chain. If you look from the top, that's from garden to your plate. So maybe like 30%, that's how I live. From my garden, literally my garden, not my farm, but my garden direct to my plate. 25, 30%. Then there's the farmer's market, right? From farm, transport, market to plate. Then there's the supermarket. And then the farthest food chain is the food delivery service. So where are you at? So sometimes I do this thing in the house or in our field trips when we're eating food. For example, here's my breakfast. Oh, I haven't eaten yet. I'm having salad and there's some tuyo on top with edible flowers and cucumbers. So I can tell you right now, the flowers, the cucumber, the lettuce came from my garden. The tuyo, I got that from the supermarket. I got the one with olive oil, not corn oil. Okay, what else? That's it. So I like to ask the kids, so what are you eating? So if they're eating ramen, oh, what are you eating? Where did that come from? Like that. So we kind of like reverse engineer it. And they're just like, wow, oh, okay. Like that. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about this briefly because we cannot talk about food without talking about water. And water is not just something, obviously, that you drink or use or consume. It's really, water is alive. Water can be imprinted with emotion and memory. This is the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto, a Japanese scientist. I think he's passed on, but he still has a research center measuring all the different fractals of spring water, clean water, polluted water, the water in Lourdes, France. Look, so beautiful. Right below the water in Lourdes, France, look, distilled water. Yeah, so I don't drink distilled water, for example. I drink mineral water, and I will explain but to you later why. Look at the Fujiwara Dam before offering a prayer, and to the right of it, look at it after offering a prayer, right? So when I have water, I really say thank you to my water before I drink it. Water is so generous and so healing, and it actually can get imprinted with your memory and with your feelings. Yeah, and there's this actual pandemic that's happening called the dehydration pandemic. I'm following these doctors. Dr. Zach Bush primarily has talked about this, that we have a pandemic of dehydration in the world. And so you can research more about this. Dr. Zach Bush is amazing. Of course, most people know Mercola. I love Dr. Christian Northrup, Dr. Thomas Cowan, Ben Greenfield. They've taught me a lot about how to hydrate myself because the food has lost water content. Industrialized food has lost water content. Our water, municipal water, is no longer alive, right? Especially if it's fluoridated. Reverse osmosis water can also be tampered with. You want highly mineralized water, but you also want very coherent water. So rather than drinking water from single-use plastics, which also contribute to the waste problem, or these 5-gallon bins, which are cleaned with God knows what they clean it with, right? Look, compare that to the photo on the right side, which is a machine, a vortex machine that makes water coherent, right? And mineralized, natural, living water. Of course, the closest thing to this is pure spring water, as in straight from the bukal, right? Because that's straight from the mountain. And within the mountain, there are already vortexes. So this is kind of just mimicking that. So do not discount the power of water in your healing journey. Yeah. Okay, so go back to food and water. Any questions?
Well, more like reactions. Actually, so many people are shocked. I just want to read one reaction here because Hindi, this will give you an insight on how shocked people are. Kay was actually saying, I feel so bad with all my choices in life. Fashion, fuel, and food pa lang yan. So, and I know we still have a lot of topics to have and discuss with you. And even Gets was saying, wala palang tama sa lahat ng kinakain ko. And I love that. I love that people are very honest, because you have been very honest too, and allowing our eyes to be open. And I guess I'll ask this question because it's also a good question. Isaiah was saying he graduated in advertising and worked for many ad agencies. He is aware when it comes to promoting and selling products for business purposes. But now he really obviously wants to make a different choice for himself. So he wants to ask, where can you buy legit organic food in the metro? But you did say food can now be deceiving. All of these packaging are deceiving. So again, keep digging and keep asking.
For number one is support your palengke, your neighborhood palengke. Number one for me. And from there, you'll make certain sukis, right? Support the local produce, right? Not those that have been flown in, not the imported produce, because even our palenques have been infiltrated, like I said. So that's number one, right? Number two is get to meet a few farmers, do your research online. For example, Holy Carabao's online. There are other green grocers. There's Real Food, Mini Grocer. There's Down to Earth. So many options for food delivery. But it's really important to know the people behind it as well, right?
Yeah.
So, was that third? Number four is start growing a little bit for yourself.
Yes.
And to those who said they feel bad because lahat ng kinakain nila ay mali, please don't. I'm telling you, I grew up on Spam, Tender Juicy, Pandesal, Cheese Whiz. I grew up on that, right? And you have to start from that place. And I'm here to tell you, do not wait for an illness to arise in yourself or a family member before you make the change. So, like I said, this pandemic has really put our health up front and center. So we can do little changes, right?
Yeah.
One change at a time. But don't feel bad because I've been there.
Well, Isaiah is saying that this is really making him rethink on his lifestyle. So I know that you still have a lot of things to discuss here, Hindi. So we'll let you move to the next topic.
Okay. So now, very briefly, even shelter. We have to consider our waste and our approach to shelter because where we live actually has a very huge impact also on our health, right? We have the concrete jungle versus biophilic building. So now hopefully in architecture schools that they're also infusing environmental impact of their buildings, right? Which one do you think is actually better for your health? You know what I mean? So please also consider the contents of our homes, from the furniture to the equipment to the tools, the gadget, the art decor, and even to the excessive plant obsession. I've seen so many things on social media, mga plantito, mga plantita, and then syempre excited because you feel you're getting eco-friendly already. I love it. I think it's fantastic. But a lot of people are also getting endangered species of plants. So please be mindful of, some people are getting like these huge plants from the forest. So actually the suppliers are looking for these plants just to satisfy the market. Yeah, so let's just be mindful of that. Here's an example of house choices. Which one do you think, like, after 100 years will be assimilated into the earth, right? So I took a bamboo building course in Bali, and it's fantastic because you can either reuse the materials or everything else is biodegradable, right? And that's kind of like my ideal of how to live. I'm not yet there. I live in a concrete hollow block kind of house right now. A few years ago, I built a house made of container vans, right? And I was able to take that apart and actually build the farm shed where our farm is. So when I'm building something, I'm always thinking about reusing or biodegrading, right? I know we all want to live in a beautiful house and of course, when we earn money and we've reached a certain status in our lives, we really want to be proud of it. But I think the time has come where we also have to be a little bit more mindful about everything that we do, right? So if you are building a house or building anything, please choose to build using more sustainable materials. Also, my business partner, Melanie, is a building biologist. So she even measures the electromagnetic radiation inside the house and the sound and the light waves inside the house because those affect our light. In fact, my laptop now has I don't know if you notice, there's a bit of an orangey warm color because my laptop has a blue light blocker, and so do my glasses. There's a blue light blocker from the laptop because it not only affects our eyes, it also affects our sleep. It also affects our beauty. When I realized, well, a year ago, like my freckles started really coming out, and I was like, I don't even go out in the sun. When I go out in the sun, I have a hat, I have sunblock on my face because I'm prone to freckles. And I realized it was the laptop and the phone, yung mga Netflix, So now I use blue light blockers in my glasses and on the actual laptop. So any questions about shelter before I go to health and beauty?
It's just so interesting that you mentioned all of that, Hindi, and we're looking forward actually to still 4 more topics, and we're going to try to squeeze it with the little time that we have left. So Hindi, go ahead.
Okay, so health and beauty. Here's a picture of Asclepion. This is the first hospital in Greece, and it's the only hospital where you walk in and you're guaranteed not to die. So you go in and you're actually healed and cured. And here's Hippocrates, the father of medicine, and that slogan of "First do no harm." That's from him. I just want to go over quickly the different options, alternatives we have for medical treatment now. We have homeopathy, Ayurveda, allopathy. So very many different options now. You can research on the different methods for allopathy, homeopathy, and Ayurveda. I use all. I think we need all. But I lean more towards homeopathy and Ayurveda for basic, everyday, nicks and bruises and ailments, the flu, colds, allergies, headaches, tummy aches. I go with homeopathy with that. Of course, if I break my ankle, knock on wood, that's where I would go with allopathy. So that's just my personal preference. And I apply the same thing with my beauty regimen. Yeah, I like non-invasive procedures. I like holistic beauty companies. So this shows the different approach to health and beauty. There's Louis Pasteur and Antoine Béchamp. Louis Pasteur has the germ theory, which is treat the fish, treat the germ, treat the bacteria. So very good, because he was actually invented pasteurization, right? Also, antibiotics is in this field. This other theory is called terrain theory. Rather than treat the patient directly or kill the germ directly, you have to clean the fishbowl, clean the microbiome, clean the inside to strengthen the immune system. And the immune system is what actually cures the condition. So I'm just sharing these two different approaches to health. The thing with the medical industry now is we also actually have fake medicines, just like fake food, right? So please, buyer beware. And I'm sure you can talk to, you can consult the many doctors on the 24/7 teleconsult of Maxicare and ask them which is their preferred medical sources. There's also a lot of waste in the health and beauty industry, with the equipment alone, with all the medical waste. Look at that, all the rubber, the plastic. I mean, it's easy to say that these are all, of course, necessary, right? And they've saved lives. But at the same time, I think the world is at a state where we can no longer go just keep going, on full speed, full throttle. I think even the materials used in the medical and beauty industry need to be addressed, right? So even the beauty industry, all the packaging, imagine that, right? But I don't want you guys to get bogged down by this. This is a little bit further away from us. This is something that the industry should address, right? Not so much you. What are you gonna do? You're in a hospital. You can't tell them, I don't want to use that dextrose because it's plastic. Of course not. That's not what I'm saying, right? Or I'm not gonna buy this shampoo because it's plastic. No, that's not what I'm saying. This is more of a call to the industry drivers to look at the materials that they use for their particular industry and how they will affect the planet. Look, this year alone, there's so many disposable masks on our beaches and oceans. It's really, truly a shame. Again, there was a need for this, and but I think the time has come to look for more sustainable alternatives. And this has a lot to do with the industry leaders to make changes from the top, right? Because what are we in the masses going to do? We're made to wear masks. This is what's available, right? It's very difficult. So for me, in my fashion line, I made masks that are reusable, washable, and using organic linen. So you do not inhale the microplastics, because a lot of the synthetic materials used in masks also contain microplastics, which we inhale.
And actually, Hindi, I'm just jumping on because I really wanted to share with you also that even Joseph Severino is saying that this has been such a light bulb moment. And all these things that you're sharing, even the masks that are now being found, even in the oceans like that, it's making such a big impact on everyone. And I know that you still have to talk about technology, information, and emotion as some of your topics as we continue this discussion, which we only have very little time left, but there's just so much information. So maybe, Hindi, you can share with us a summarized version for those next 3 segments. And really, I think what we're also waiting for would be how else? What else are the other things that we should change with our lives? These are just some great information, and everyone really appreciates it.
Sure. Okay. So here's again all the waste in the health and supplement industry, right? So for me, I prefer to let food be my medicine, right? Okay, it got stuck again. Food is fuel, food is medicine. However, in technology, we also have a lot of waste, soft waste, hard waste, all the gadgets, all the internet. You think it's just all digital, but there's a lot of wasted time and wasted information. So we cannot approach a zero waste lifestyle without also considering technology. And here you go, information even, right? The pollution in the information field, there's just so much. I really pity the kids because there's just so much that fills their day with just the information being generated from different media, from Hollywood, from the news, from the internet, right? And social media, right? Who doesn't get burnt out from social media once in a while? You know, and even like news that we hear, earthquake here, or there's a fire here, or so and so is sick. You know, all this we have to consider is coming into our consciousness as information. Here's a cute infographic on the different kinds of news addict, on which one you could possibly be, right? I'm more of the invest kind of news addict. You can screenshot this if you want, so we don't have to delve into it. Okay. And then, of course, there's energy and emotion. The first thing we must understand is that we are actually electric and energetic beings. We're not just physical beings. So we don't just consume physical things. We're actually sense beings as well. We consume light through our eyes, we consume sound through our ears, touch through our skin. So if you study quantum science, which I'm really into now, you can see the kinds of consciousness that you allow into your life that can have a direct effect on your health. Example, look here at the field of fear, right? And compare it to the quantum field of love, of the human heart. The love is so much bigger than fear, right? And this can get imprinted on us. So I want to share this, we're ending soon, that we are made up of cells, viruses, bacteria, and fungi in our own microbiome, right? Within us are trillions of viruses. The viruses are not just outside of us. We actually have viruses inside of us, including bacteria and cell. We actually have more viruses and bacteria in our body than we do have human cells, right? And our cells are 50 trillion, viruses and bacteria are over 400 trillion. So they're actually there to bring balance, not necessarily the bad guy. It's when we are unhealthy that you will have a virus or bacteria that will go rogue and will take advantage. We also consume light, color, right, through the electromagnetic spectrum, which is so important to go out into the sun, to rest your eyes from the screen and go out into the sun. There's also such a thing as sound therapy, the sound healing. Here are different tones for our different chakras. You can read more on that and screenshot that if you want. So I'm very careful, example, with the white noise that I expose my children to. It's so hard because when we live in a city, there's so much white noise, right? But example, if I'm in the car or in the living room, I make sure there aren't too many things going on, too many gadgets on, too many different songs that are playing. There's also sound frequencies. If you look at the different frequencies here, there are 10 frequencies that respond to different things. Even 528 hertz repairs DNA. 639 hertz heals relationships. So I listen to these frequencies depending on my needs at any given moment, right? And the frequency of fear, guess what, is only 5.5 hertz, which also happens to be the frequency of COVID-19. Okay, so that these are the breakthrough technologies now of sound healing, body vibration, light therapy. This is called the vibe bed. Yeah, I'm trying to move on to the next slide, but it won't let me. Hold on. This slide that I'm showing you is in New Mexico, and it's really the latest technology in scalar quantum consciousness medicine. There's also color therapy. Oh, so many now. Okay, it got stuck again. Hang on, please. We are down to our last couple of slides. This is I'll just enlarge that. This is called the Rasha. It's a scalar quantum healing machine. So, but you can also just be very simple and, protect your space, protect your headspace, protect your emotions from toxic people, right? As simple as that. From toxic thoughts or toxic people. Now, sometimes we even encounter toxic positivity, right? I don't know if you've encountered that, but I see that a lot also in social media. So it's really best to surround yourself with your tribe who understand you, who will not belittle you or laugh at you because of what you eat or your personal choices. People who really lift you up. And it's also very crucial that we don't spend too much time on social media trolling people or like joining in the bandwagon of hate. It's so easy to bring down others, but actually when we do that, everybody has an opinion now, right? You see something on the news and you say, mali yan, or oh, I hate that person, or oh, that's so ugly, or everybody has an opinion now. But I think it's so crucial to protect our consciousness, our energy, our emotion from too much of that, right? So ultimately, anything we do, especially as a business, should consider product, people, and planet. And here is my prescription for holistic health and zero waste approach. First is to go earthing, connect to the earth as much as possible, and this will also balance all the EMF frequencies from our gadgets, from the internet, from Wi-Fi, from 5G. Second is compassion to all, to humans, to animals, to the earth. Move as much as you can every day. I've chosen to move, even if it's 4 minutes, 5 minutes a day. I will do some kind of yoga or cross training, doesn't matter. Silence, prayer, meditation, eat clean and whole, of course. And look, I have a special one for cooking at home because I really think that brings together a lot of these principles. Get dirty, what does that mean? Get your hands in the soil, get your feet in the soil. It will build a big, stronger immune system for yourself while you're also growing your own food and helping the earth. Sleep and rest. Try to learn about your circadian rhythm. And lastly, connect with your family, connect with friends, hug people. Do you know that there's actually a scientific evidence-based finding that every single human being needs 7 to 8 hugs a day just for their mental health, emotional health, and their immunity. So we actually build information, genetic information, biodiversity through hugging. 7 to 8 hugs a day. So I want to ask, who have you hugged today? And that is the end of my talk.
Great job, Hindi. Now I'm starting to think, do I really get 7 to 8? But with 3 kids, I'm sure I go beyond that. And I think it's minimum 20 seconds. I'll just tell them minimum 30.
Yeah, you can tell Tita Hindi said minimum 30.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Hindi. Amazing. I have a long list already with my recycled paper of the things that you've shared with us. And it really is life-changing. And I'm looking at the comments of the people, and they really do agree with you. And it's really such an eye-opener. And it's just a wonderful session that you took us through. But I know that, Hindi, of course, you want to also help a lot of people, not just with this interesting talk, but with some of the things that you're here to also share with others. Now, just to let all of our special Maxicare members know, Hindi here is so amazing that she's going to be sharing 4 items with some of you today. And what she has is, Hindi, the first one, what are the items that we have raffled off? So maybe share that first item.
The first one is from Holy Carabao. It's an immune boosting fermented wild honey tonic. Wow. So it's a jar and you can mix it with your hot tea or take it straight.
All right, and we'll know more about who will get to win that. But of course, if you don't get to, you can always look up and search up Holy Carabao and look at their products that they have. The other 2 items that you'll be giving away are from the Hindi Weber Everyday Collection.
Yes, one from my menswear collection and one from my women's wear collection. And you can tell me your size so I can make sure that it actually fits you.
Right? No fast fashion here, especially when it comes to Hindi Weber Everyday. And finally, Hindi, this is something special, the 4th thing that you're giving away. And if someone is really wanting to change their lifestyle, I think this is one special gift that you're giving.
Yeah, so this is a 1-year membership to my private advice portal on Instagram where you can direct message me any time of day, as many questions you want about anything that involves food, nutrition, farming, gardening, design, style, love life.
Everything under the sun, and being under the sun is good for you anyway. So let's get to it. Our ladies have actually put together that list, and we of course are basing it on our attendees. Thanks so much everyone for being here with us, and these are our special prizes for today. So let's reveal our winners for our talk for this very special Maxicare Wellness Fridays. The fermented honey cider from Holy Carabao goes to Christine Joy Macaranas. Thank you so much and congratulations, Christine. We will be in touch with you, so don't log out right away. We will send you a direct message. Next, for our next item, we have from the Hindi Weber Everyday Collection, Pearl Gatlabayan. We'll be getting the one customized women's wear from your collection, Hindi. Thanks so much. That's so exciting. And Mark Sana. Of course, we had to pick a guy for the men's collection. Congratulations to you, Mark, and to you also, Pearl. And finally, that 1-year membership goes to Nazer Bendanya. Congratulations, Nazer. You will now have access to Hindi Weber's private advice portal for 1 year on her Instagram. But should we, as individuals who are not as lucky as Nazer, how do we actually get in touch with you, Hindi, and how do we subscribe to that portal?
Yeah, you can just message me on Instagram at Hey Hindi and message me that you want to be a member, and that's it. It only costs $988 for 1 year.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And that again is at Hey Hindi on Instagram. Thank you so much, Hindi, for that really wonderful talk, life-changing, eye-opening. I'm just really amazed at what you're all about, and really what your business and everything is really started from an advocacy and what's really in your heart. And I think this is really something that we have to put to heart too if we really want changes.
Yes, thank you. It's not your typical zero waste talk.
It's amazing. It's not. I wish we had more time. Thanks so much, Hindi.
Sorry about that. It's really so hard to compress it. But yeah.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, there are truly many ways on how we can contribute to take care of the planet. And of course, magbe-benefit din yung ating overall well-being. That's what I call balance. So of course, this makes us push ourselves to live holistically. And of course, we all learn together. And I love that. So again, thanks so much once again to Miss Hindi Weber. And of course, to all of you Maxicare members. We all love the discussion. To our attendees, thank you so much for participating. And of course, the Q&A natin, and for being so engaged all throughout. To our Maxicare members, can we please invite you to take a few moments to answer a feedback form? After this event, here's a link already that's on your screens. You guys can screen grab that. You can use your alternate gadget and take a photo of it already. But the link to the chat or on the chat is already on the chat, so you can also use that link. Of course, your feedback would be most appreciated. Now, did you know that apart from today's helpful session, Maxicare continues to provide ways for you to live your best life? They will soon be launching the Maxicare's Maxi Life Wellness app, which has programs that target specific body needs and help in prevention, control, and treatment of diseases like hypertension and diabetes anytime and anywhere in just a few clicks and taps. Watch this video. The Maxi Life Wellness app is just so amazing. Imagine, mababawasan ang pag-set mo ng appointments in the hospital, and you can now take better care of your health, especially if you have hypertension and diabetes using this app. And like what I said earlier, it's convenient because you can stay active, eat healthy, and take control of your lifestyle choices. There will be exclusive recipes, information about pre-diabetes and diabetes, and you'll be able to measure the impact of your physical lifestyle on your health. This app will be available for download very, very soon on the App Store and Google Play, and I'm just really excited to download it. Now, we know that many of you members deal with diabetes, right? Because Maxicare wants you to live your best life, they have partnered with Abbott to provide its members life-changing technology to improve diabetes care and management. Know more about this through this video. Yes, this is glucose monitoring, made quicker and easier and painless. Here is a QR code on your screen right now so you can find out more about it. Eligible members get it for free, so make sure you register now. It is a life-changing technology to improve diabetes management. You can do it without finger sticks, and you can automatically measure, capture, and store glucose data for 14 days. And it is clinically proven to lower your HbA1c. So make finger pricking a thing of the past, as you can now check your glucose levels using a painless 1-second scan with a Freestyle Libre flash glucose monitoring system. Now, before we go, we still have 2 more poll questions, and just click on the answer that best suits you, especially for this first question that we have. Do you want to live your best life? And you're here because of course you do. Yes, of course, or oo, syempre will of course be a testament to why you are here in the first place, because you do want to live your best life. That's why you are part of our Zero Waste approach for our Wellness Fridays. Thanks so much for indulging us for that first question. Here now is a more serious second question, and we need your insights. Which topics would you like to see in our next Wellness Fridays? Homeschooling? Yes, that's wellness. Cancer awareness? Heart in the time of the pandemic, managing stress and emotional distress during and after COVID-19, or strengthening immunity against any diseases. Now, these are all wonderful topics. Homeschooling is something that I myself am so interested in. I homeschool my kids, but I always want to learn new ways. Heart in the time of pandemic. I have a friend who recently found out she has cancer, so it's really heartbreaking, but I do want to know more about it and all these wonderful topics. So let me know what you guys think. A lot of people want managing stress and emotional distress during and after COVID-19. We hear you, and you also want to know how to strengthen your immunity against any diseases. We hear you, and we will make sure that we'll be able to get that topics across. Now, if you enjoyed this experience, please do share it on your social media using the hashtag Live Your Best Life and the hashtag Maxicare Wellness Fridays. And you can tag Maxicare on Facebook at Maxicare Healthcare Corp, on their IG at Maxicare Healthcare, and of course, their health and wellness IG at Maxicare Health and Wellness. When you share about your wonderful takeaways, and there are so many, please do share them so we can all be more responsible stewards of the earth and of the people who we love, including ourselves. Don't forget to subscribe to Maxicare's YouTube channel too at Maxicare Healthcare Corporation. Now, to learn more about Maxicare's products, please visit www.shop.maxicare.com.ph, or you can even go to their FB and send a message through FB Messenger. If you have questions about Maxicare's Wellness Fridays, which we love so much, you may send an email to maxicare@maxicare.com.ph. So I guess I'll see you guys on our next Maxicare Wellness Fridays, which will be on Feb 11. Check your calendar. It's not a Friday, right? It's actually a Thursday. It's a day before a holiday. Before you guys go on your long weekend, be part of this wellness discussion where we will learn more about cancer awareness, its general signs, and also about screening it. The QR code for the registration will be flashed on your screens right now. So please capture this QR code so you can register for it. You know, we have actually our wonderful speaker who will share with you the knowledge, important knowledge that you need for this. And also, please mark your calendars already for Feb 19 as we talk about the heart in the time of COVID-19 with Dr. Rodney Jimenez. This is going to be a wonderful affair as well. But make sure you guys are always part of this Maxicare Wellness Fridays. That really ends our event for today. Thank you for being with us this Friday morning. And we hope that you enjoyed and you were able to take away meaningful information that will really help you live a holistic lifestyle and change everything that you thought was right. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great day. And we know that Maxicare, they want to make sure that you all live your best lives.